If you live in Iran, run. Run very far. The United States is coming, bearing the most lethal, most destructive bombers on the planet. A fleet of Northrop B-2 Spirit stealth bombers. If the leadership of Iran and the Houthis do not come to the negotiating table, nuclear bombs could soon become the new alarm clock in Iran and Houthi-occupied Yemen. These aren't just bluffs, or theories, or plans either. The American bombers have already taken off, and they are now in the Middle East. No more games, no more Mr. Nice Guy. The U.S. is preparing for war with Iran. The gloves are off, the bets are on, and the threats are flying in the form of stern warnings from U.S. government officials and also in the form of the B-2 Spirit. A significant force of B-2 Spirit bombers have been spotted currently finding their way to Diego Garcia, an island in the Indian Ocean that hosts a sophisticated military base. Satellite imagery shows at least 3 C-17 cargo planes and 10 aerial refueling tankers already forward deployed to the highly strategic British territory, which has been used as a staging point for U.S. strikes in the Middle East on multiple occasions in the past. Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan in 2001 and Operation Iraqi Freedom in that country in 2003, to name a few. Diego Garcia is one island in the Middle East, close enough to targets of interest, yet far enough to be largely out of reach of the missiles and drones available now to either the Houthis or Iran. Iran's current longest-range ballistic missiles are generally assessed to have maximum ranges of around 1,242 miles. At its shortest, the distance between the Indian Ocean and Iran is some 2,358 miles. This strategic positioning makes Diego Garcia an Air Force favorite over other bases in the Middle East and even aircraft carriers. The island's lagoon is also used to host a U.S. military Seal of Command pre-positioning ship squadron full of military vehicles, ammunition, and other material for rapid deployment in the event of any of a host of contingencies. The current buildup on the island comes amid a new surge in U.S. strikes targeting the Houthis and growing warnings to Iran from the Trump administration over support for the Yemeni militants and Tehran's nuclear ambitions. And when the B-2 joins the buildup, you know it's time to be serious. A deployment of just 4 B-2s, representing 20% of the Air Force's total fleet of the stealth bombers, to Australia in 2022 was seen as sending a significant signal to China and other potential adversaries, as well as to American allies and partners across the Indo-Pacific region. Staging a similar number of B-2s at Diego Garcia now would be at least a major show of force aimed squarely at the Middle East, particularly the Houthis and their alleged Iranian sponsors. Since 2023, following the Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel, the Houthis group have been waging a campaign against commercial shipping in and around the Red Sea, as well as targeting foreign military forces in the region and launching attacks on Israel. It has only escalated ever since. In fact, last October, B-2 bombers were also used for strikes against the Houthis in their base in Yemen. Since taking office in January, President Trump has made it clear that the U.S. will no longer hold back its punches. Retaliation will be swift and without mercy to both the Houthis and the Iranian government allegedly funding and coordinating them. President Trump said, quote, "Any further attack or retaliation by the Houthis will be met with great force, and there is no guarantee that that force will stop there." He continued that every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire. According to U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, freedom of navigation is basic. Should the Houthis continue to threaten navigation on the seas, Americans' campaign on them will be relentless. Should the Houthis decide to stop instead, the American campaign on the Houthis and its Iranian sponsors will stop too. However, there's also the issue of Iran's ambition of nuclear weapons. A nuclear-armed Iran would be the worst news for Israel and, by extension, the United States, because there's a very high chance Iran could use these weapons. The enmity between Iran and Israel is real, very real. So, since taking office, President Trump made it clear that he is pursuing a new deal with Iran over its nuclear ambitions, as well as its long missile programs. It was reported that a letter the president recently sent to Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei via the United Arab Emirates included a 2-month deadline for coming to a new arrangement that would feel much less threatening to all sides involved. Most preferably, of course, saying bye to any nuclear weapons programs. The Trump administration has otherwise implied threats to potential military action if Iran doesn't agree to this. The Wall Street Journal reported in December that Trump's transition team was already reviewing options for possible strikes and other actions targeting Iran's nuclear program. The B-2 Spirit would once again come in handy. It is the go-to bomber, the most powerful bomber in the world until its successor, the B-21 Raider, enters service. For now, the B-2 Spirit holds the crown as it has done for the last 3 decades. How has it managed this? Simply by wielding the most advanced set of capabilities ever. The Northrop B-2 Spirit, the original stealth bomber, is a double-crew, heavy strategic bomber primarily designed to penetrate dense anti-aircraft defenses and deliver explosive payloads. It entered service in 1997, and for all its 28 years of service, it has never been shot down or even gotten close to being. This unrivaled dominance is thanks to some revolutionary capabilities of the B-2 Spirit, capabilities such as unrivaled stealth. For almost 3 decades, the B-2 has remained the stealthiest aircraft in the world. It is the only aircraft that can carry large air-to-surface standoff weapons without losing its stealth profile. The seemingly unshakable stealth profile comes from a combination of a variety of low observable radar signature reducing ingenuities. From its exterior design to the skin it wears and much more. Starting with the design, the bomber has an overall flying wing design with no vertical stabilizers, the perfect shape for stealth because it means the aircraft lacked angles to reflect back radar waves. To minimize radar return even further, the bomber is coated lavishly with various radar-absorbent materials to absorb and neutralize radar beams. Therefore, the majority of the B-2 is made out of a carbon graphite composite material that is stronger than steel, lighter than aluminum, and absorbs a significant amount of radar energy. For optical invisibility during daylight flights, the B-2 is painted in an anti-reflective paint. Preserving these materials requires that the bomber be kept in a special $5 million climate-controlled hangar. The undersides are dark because it flies at high altitudes up to 50,000 feet. And at that altitude, a dark gray painting blends well into the sky. It is speculated to have an upward-facing light sensor which alerts the pilot to increase or reduce altitude to match the changing illuminance of the sky. The B-2 has its engines buried deep in its fuselage to hide the heat, providing components from thermal detection. With all of these in place, the B-2 has a tiny radar cross-section of about 0.1 meter square, invisible to even the most sophisticated anti-aircraft defenses. The bomber can penetrate undetected into enemy airspace 6,900 miles away to eliminate critical targets. Despite missions in Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya, no missile has ever been launched at the invisible B-2 bomber. Robust avionics. The B-2 Spirit has a brain consisting of 136 computer systems, many of which have been combined into an integrated system. This brain enables the bomber to operate as designed, from flying stealthy to spotting targets from tens of miles away. Some of the most crucial of systems on the bomber are the low probability of intercept AN/APQ-181 multi-mode radar, a fully digital navigation system integrated with terrain-following radar and GPS guidance, the NAS-26 Astro Inertial Navigation System, the AN/APQ-181 Active Electronically Scanned Array Radar, and Defensive Management System to inform the flight crew of the capabilities of threats. For safety and fault detection purposes, an onboard test system is linked with the majority of avionics on the B-2 to continuously monitor the performance and status of thousands of components and consumables. These avionics and systems combine to make the B-2 more intelligent, more sensitive, and more effective than every other bomber across the globe. Lethal armament. B-2 Spirit has 2 internal bays for ordnance and payload. Both bays can carry a combined 50,000 pounds, enough to wipe out entire cities. Constituting this payload is a combination of nuclear and conventional weapons, including up to 80 500-pound class bombs, 36 750-pound class bombs, 16 2,000-pound Mk-84 or GBU-31 class bombs, 16 nuclear bombs, multiple precision air-to-surface missiles, and so on. In fact, the B-2 Spirit is the only aircraft certified to operationally employ the GBU-57B massive ordnance penetrator bombs. 30,000-pound class bomb is the ultimate bunker buster. It offers a unique conventional operation for striking deeply buried and fortified targets, of which there are many in Iran. With the ability to access anti-access areas with such a heavy loadout, the B-2 is an invincible nuclear and conventional bomber that could put an end to a conflict instantly in favor of the U.S. and her allies. Despite this already unrivaled bomber might of the U.S. Air Force, there's another, a newer, more modern bomber, the successor to the B-2, the B-21 Raider. The B-21, the bomber for the 21st century, is everything the B-2 Spirit is and more. It is widely regarded as the world's first 6th-generation aircraft and is designed to usher an era of even greater American dominance in stealth bomber technology, the B-21 era. As the career of the B-2 Spirit comes to a glorious end, the B-21 Raider prepares to take up the mantle. It's the perfect replacement too, packed with capabilities that are sure to tilt the scales of victory in the favor of the U.S. and her allies. We'll get to these capabilities in a minute, but first, some background info on the new bomber. The B-21 Raider is an optionally manned bomber that's being developed as a component of a larger family of systems for long-range strike, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and electronic warfare. It would be the lead of a program that significantly amps up the capabilities of the U.S. Air Force as a whole, which was the goal when the Air Force requested it in the early 2010s. A large aircraft with a flexible payload and almost limitless range that can protect the might of the U.S. military anywhere in the world is a requirement for interested companies to meet. The aircraft, capable as it would be, was also required in the early 2010s to come to an average cost of $550 million per unit. In today's money, that's $630 million. A $630 million aircraft may not sound economical after all, but that's more costly than any fighter jet the Air Force has ever fielded. But the B-21 is in fact economical, considering that the next best thing is its predecessor. The B-2 Spirit cost a monumental $2 billion. It is through the experience with the B-2 that Northrop Grumman was able to propose the best bomber to meet the Air Force's requirements. Thus, Northrop Grumman was selected as the main contractor for the B-21 Raider. Working alongside Northrop Grumman are 7 of the world's most reputable companies as Tier 1 suppliers of the program. This team of suppliers includes American aerospace manufacturer Pratt & Whitney, the largest defense contractor in Europe, BAE Systems, the world's largest first-tier aerostructures manufacturer, Spirit AeroSystems, Northrop Grumman's Orbital ATK, Rockwell Collins, GKN Aerospace, and Janicki Industries. Apparently, a global team is what it takes to surpass capabilities that come with the B-2. And the B-2 did indeed set the bar high, but with over 2 decades of technological advancements, there are unlimited new features for the B-21 Raider that would see it triumph over its predecessor. Lethal as they like, the Air Force plans to acquire a minimum of 100 B-21s, 5 times more than their fleet of 20 B-2s, which is not surprising for an aircraft with a price tag that resembles a statewide GDP. The B-21 is expected to have its first flight by 2023. On passing a test that comes with a maiden flight, the bomber will be introduced into service and unveiled as an advanced, very long-range, large, heavy payload stealth intercontinental strategic bomber for the U.S. It would initially work alongside other bombers in the U.S. fleet, including the B-52 Stratofortress, the B-1 Lancer, and the B-2 Spirit, before eventually replacing the B-1 Lancer and its direct predecessor, the B-2 Spirit. That's enough background info. Now it's incredible capabilities. The 21st Century Stealth. The B-21 is built from the ground up as a stealth aircraft, drawing from the stealth experience of the B-2 Spirit. Alignment of edges, serrated skin panels, masking of the engine with fiber matte skin, and an overall flying wing shape are only some of what to expect. The B-21, like the B-2, will also likely be painted in anti-reflective paint to reduce optical visibility during daylight flights. The undersides will be dark because it flies at high altitudes, over 50,000 feet up, and at that altitude, a dark painting blends perfectly into the sky. To ensure it always blends with the sky, an upward-facing light sensor will be on board the B-21 to alert the pilot to increase or reduce altitude to match changing illuminance of the sky. To maintain the stealth features of these flying wing aircraft, they are stored in specialized air-conditioned hangars that cost at least $5 million. The intelligent avionics. To make the B-21 more effective than previous bombers, the aircraft will feature many advanced and modern avionic systems that form a single integrated system. Some of these unit systems include a multi-mode radar, a fully digital navigation system integrated with terrain-following radar and GPS guidance, an astro-inertial navigation system to navigate using orbiting bodies in space, an AESA radar, an electronic warfare system, a distributed aperture system, an electro-optical targeting system, among others. Link 16 and a high-frequency satellite link are used for battlefield communications, and a defensive management system to inform the flight crew of possible threats and allow changes to the auto router's mission planning information while in flight so it can receive new data quickly to plan a route that minimizes exposure to the discovered dangers for members of the fleet. Thus, the B-21 would act as a battle manager, a central point in the sensor fusion system like the F-35. For safety and fault detection purposes, an onboard test system will be linked with the majority of avionics on the B-21 to continuously monitor the performance and status of thousands of components and consumables. Advanced weapons. Much like its predecessor, the B-21 will be capable of carrying over 30,000 pounds of armament consisting of a variety of nuclear weapons like the B-61 variable yield nuclear gravity bomb and the long-range standoff nuclear cruise missile. But that's far from all it will carry. The B-21 will likely be equipped to handle a large number of conventional weapons that will enable the aircraft to play an active role in combat operations around the world. Absorbing the ability of the B-1 Lancer it would replace. The B-21 would be able to launch Lockheed Martin's long-range anti-ship missiles. It would also likely wield many modern weapons like Boeing's GPS-guided Joint Direct Attack munition, which are designed to engage targets from great distances. For almost 3 decades, the B-2 Spirit has been the ultimate stealth bomber. To this day, it is the most lethal bomber in service. And when the U.S. decided to make a loud, stern statement, B-2 Spirits go into the sky. As Iran and the Houthis are currently finding out, yet there's a newer, more advanced successor to the B-2, the B-21 Raider, the bomber of the future. As this new bomber prepares for service, the U.S. Air Force needs you to help out by giving this video a like and subscribing to this channel. So do that now, and thanks for watching.